Hey there, thank you so much for tuning in. So, today I want to talk about my story. What are my qualifications? Why should you even listen to me, especially if you're inside this course? I want you to understand my background so that you see the way I see things, so that you can understand why certain things have worked out for me and other things have not. And also, it's just as I get older and the more I go into business, the wiser you start getting, the more you start realizing what's important, what is not important, what are you good at, what are you not good at. So I'm gonna take you back to the basics. I'll try to be as fast but as concrete as I can be. So again, my name is Carlos. I come from a very poor place. I was born in Cuba, in a small town called Sagua La Grande. It's in the very middle of Cuba, right by the coast. You know, Cuba is just a place where there's just no opportunities. I don't know how or why I always had an entrepreneurial drive. I was selling mangoes back in Cuba. I was selling gloves, and I was lucky enough that I didn't have a bad life over there because I had my dad over here, and then he would help my mom with a little bit of money, and then he would send me a couple gifts, and the good thing, I was just selling those things, and I was like five, 6, 7 years old. But I've always been entrepreneurial. I think there's a part of it that it has to come with you. You don't have to be good at business. You don't have to be the smartest. None of that stuff really matters. But you do have to have the drive. Because the drive is what's going to separate you from a quitter. It's what's going to make sure that when it gets really tough, and believe me, it does get tough. It does get very, very tough. But if you have the drive, if you have the why, quitting is never an option. Like, there's been times where I've been very, very close to quitting, but I was just like, man, I'm just not a quitter. Like, this is what I want. Like, if I quit, what am I gonna go do? So, whatever business you're working in right now, just think, sometimes we're in the wrong business. There's no light at the end of the tunnel if you're in the wrong tunnel. And for a long time, I was in the wrong tunnel. I was in the right industry for me, but I didn't realize what I had to do or what I needed to change in order to be in the right tunnel, in order to see that light at the end. Because when I started, I was actually just doing events, and I was just losing money time and time again. I did like 20 events, and I lost $1,200 to $3,000 on each one of those events. And I could have kept that going for 20 years. I was never going to get anywhere with that. Now, had not done that, by the time I did make a switch and I did do a real business model and I did get my shit together and I did start selling, I had built the infrastructure. I had gained the skills, the knowledge to be able to host events, to be able to provide a good experience for people, to be able to rally people, to get them together. Now, those skills might not be what you need because you might be in a completely different business. But in the business that I'm in, those are the skills that I need. And I went through a painful 2-year period almost where I was just not making any money at all. And, making money is like, it's not just like you get a check deposit in the bank, or you're making $100 a day, $3,000 a day. Making money at the end of the day is making money. Is after everything is said and done, there's money left over, or everything gets paid, including yourself, even if you do break even. I wasn't even able to do that. So, my story is really one of like sticking to your guts. Just keep trying. If one thing doesn't work, then just go ahead and do another thing. Just keep trying, but make small changes at a time. So you don't. Well, that one. Okay, you want to go big and you want to do big changes, and you cannot be afraid of big changes. But you don't want to do a big change every single time and all together. Let me give you an example. So right now, let's say there's something in my business that's not working. Like, let's say today I am not making money. Let's say I get a lot of payments, but I'm breaking even. Okay, that doesn't mean I go and change to another business. That doesn't mean I'm just gonna drop what I'm doing and I'm gonna go ahead and now become a car dealership or do something completely different. But I might do a little tweak. What if I increase the price? What if I lower the price? What if I spend more here and spend less here? And then you test those little changes to see what is the impact. But you always gotta be testing, and you can't be afraid to switch something around, because that is how you're going to find things and to find your way out. So that's my story. As far as the Young Sharks is concerned, really, it happened to me by accident. I'm an introvert by nature, so for me, it's really hard to talk to people. I've gotten a lot better over the years, and I've always been able to talk to people. I've never been afraid to just get on a stage. Like, I get nervous and all that, but I'm the type of person that's able to do the things that make me afraid. I'm afraid of bears, but I still go out camping. I'm afraid of gators, but kayaking is one of my favorite hobbies. So I was starting my business, and at the time, what I was really doing was social media management. I would run ads for people, and I was trying to get more clients. And I realized that, hey, my clients are going to be business owners. I tried cold calling. I tried, just walking up to them in person, and I just didn't have any luck. One, I was just not experienced enough. Two, I've never been a great salesperson. I've gotten a lot better on that one. Trust me. But it's just not my real great forte. And I had moved. I had moved from Miami to Orlando. At the time, at the first in there, I was living in Kissimmee. I was with my parents. My mom had come. Then my rest of the family came with me. I was actually an occupational therapy assistant. At the time, I didn't even have the idea of doing anything with the Young Sharks or marketing. This is 2019. But I've always wanted a business. I just never knew what business. And over the years, since I was 13, I've started different businesses. All of them failed. So when the pandemic hit, I was an occupational therapy assistant. I said, I'm going to do a clinic. I tried researching into it. I didn't have the capital. I didn't have the knowledge, the contacts. And then COVID hit, and I was stuck at home with my computer. And I've always loved my computer. I've always liked designing websites and doing online related things. And I've always just been great with software in general. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I start drop shipping? So I did, and I did a drop shipping store on Shopify. Then I did then I went ahead and did the store. Oh, then I started doing print on demand. So I started selling canvases, shirts, mugs. I got some success with that on Etsy. I sold like $8,000 in a few months. I ranked my store to be like #1 in the canvas category. For one type of canvas, not for canvas in general. If not, I would be making a lot of money today. But I realized that what I had to do to get from being, selling those canvases and being like #1 on Etsy or #1 on Amazon was just, I could do it, but it was just not my passion. I just hated SEO. I hated keyword optimizations. I hated having to update my product description to see if I could rank a little higher. Specifically with Etsy, you have to have a lot of products. So there was a time I had like 1,000, 2,000 products, like just different variations of the same thing, just so that you could talk about different keywords, so you could rank higher. So at least one, you were just trying to have like 5,000 products and get at least one sale per product per day. So then that's like 5,000 sales a day. So that was kind of like the print on demand strategy. I started posting on Redbubble, Pinterest. At the same time, I started running ads, and I didn't have any luck with those ads. And I did spend a lot of money. I spent like $5,000, which at the time for me was a lot of money. And that's when I started learning about Facebook ads, and TikTok hadn't even been around. And I started learning about Instagram and this and that. Then I was like, well, I can't keep spending money on ads. So I need to find me a way to reach my audience that doesn't cost me money, that is evergreen. So I was like, why don't I buy an Instagram page? Like, I wonder if they're for sale. I want to grow on Instagram and promote on Instagram, because if you have 10,000 followers, they're never gonna, they're not gonna go away. You can keep marketing to them, and it doesn't cost you anything, right? Quote unquote. And I was like, well, I don't want to. It's gonna take me a year to get to 10,000 followers. And actually, I started networking within Instagram with the people that own theme pages, and I learned how the algorithm worked, and I learned how to grow an account at that time, how to get to 1,000 followers in one month, 2,000 followers in the other month. And I started doing that for my own pages. I bought a couple pages. You'd be surprised, they're not that expensive. And I don't recommend this strategy anymore anyways. But I bought like 3 theme pages. One was a car page, one was a camping page, and then I forgot what the other one was. And then I started trying to sell my canvases to those people, and that's when I learned that you have to match your marketing message to the right audience. Because, for example, in my car page, I was like, these people are never gonna buy these canvases. They don't care. These are, for the most part, I looked at the audience statistics. It was all men. It's like 90% men, older men. They ain't gonna buy no canvases. They're not going to be buying motivational canvases or little moon phases canvases, which was the one that was selling the most. And the same thing happened with my camping page. So then I'm like, well, I have these pages, and I have a lot of reach. Like, we were getting like 1,000 views per story, because I bought one that had like 80,000 followers. And I was like, well, what is the product that's going to sell to these people? Well, let me look at the content. And we were doing a repost strategy. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on. And I was like, well, every single picture in this camping page has a knife. So why don't I sell knives? And I started, and I did. So I started selling knives, and shit, that worked. I was definitely selling a good amount organically. But then I'm like, well, okay, it's going to take a while for me to take this page from 80,000 followers to 1 million, right? And in that time, I'm going to go hungry, because I'm selling like $1,000, $2,000 a month in knives. And I still have like margins, inventory, and stuff like that. So I need something that's a little bit more scalable. So I need to run ads for this. And that's when I realized you can't run ads for knives. Even though my knives were camping knives or cooking knives, the algorithm is just not programmed. Like, it just bans you. So I actually got that. I got that page banned. Well, the ad account was banned because I tried running ads for the knives. I tried putting it on Craigslist. They took out all my listings, and it was just like fighting an uphill battle. That I looking back, there's no way of making it. Like, for example, if you get into the gun business today, you're never going to make it. Like, it's just like, that is the hardest business to be in, because you can't run ads for it. It's undesirable in every place. You can almost not even talk about it. Like, if you say you sell guns, people are like, what the fuck are you? Are you a criminal? So even though you might be selling like hunting knives and hunting guns, or shit, even if you're like water guns, if you try running ads for water guns, you're gonna have a lot of problems just because of the word gun or the shape of it. The algorithm on Facebook and TikTok and these places just doesn't know how to differentiate. So I was selling the knives, and then I got into a meetup. So meetup.com, I got into a group, and I went into a meeting because I'm like, damn, I need to network with other business owners, see what people are doing, what advice I can find. I met this guy who actually was like, man, what you're doing with theme pages and Instagram and this, like, you're talking Chinese to me, like, why don't you do it for my company? And I'm like, you know what, I can do it for you. And at the time, I really knew how to grow pages. So I was like, I'll do it for you for free for the first month. If we get to 1,000 followers, we'll go ahead and do $200 a month. And he was like, all right, let's do it. So I did, and we got to 1,300 followers in 1 month. And then he started paying me $200. I kept that account for almost a year. that they were paying me. At the end, I let them go because I was like, listen, I'm gonna get out of the social media management game altogether. And then that person referred me to another girl. That other lady, I grew her account to like, fuck, I think we got her account to like 10,000 followers or something, and real followers, not like fake stuff. And what happened next? So then I had those two accounts. I kept them both for almost a year because they both signed on like together. They were my first two clients, $200 each. So then I'm like, well, this is recurring revenue and this is scalable. So I need to find more clients. And but it was a lot of work. So you definitely don't want to be doing social media management for $200. That's just impossible. The quality is going to be garbage. So if someone does it for you for $200, trust me, they're using the same content on other people's pages. They're getting the content on Fiverr, or they're new, or they just don't know what they're doing. But they're finding the efficiency somewhere because it's impossible to do. So to make a daily post at just $200 plus like grow the account, answer, no, you can't. You can't provide a good service. So I started getting more clients. I started networking. I went to an in-person networking event. I got my first real client that paid me like $2,000. And that was for me to do a funnel for him, to do the ads. I was lucky, and I've always been a hard worker. I gave him like amazing results. Then he referred me to like 2 or 3 other people. Each one of those was like $2-3 grand. So I found myself making like $10,000 a month in ads. But at the same time, I was starting the Young Sharks. So the Young Sharks came from, I got together with friends. I was trying to find more people. So I'm like, whoa, why don't I put this online? See if I can get some business owners to come in. If I can do like a little networking group for business owners. But I want to find other people that are also my same age because I'm lonely. I'm downtown. I want to meet young people that make money. So I put it online. It starts going haywire. I start getting people from all over the place. People are trying to come to my house. People are trying to come to the events. They're sold out. I got a waiting list, and I'm like, damn, I'm up to something here. And I just kept doing event after event, one a month, and they slowly kept increasing in the price. And I wanted more and more. Like, hey, I want to have a videographer, then I want to have 2, and I want to do photos and videos and this and that and this and that. Next thing I saw was like I was spending like $4,000, $3,000, $5,000 on an event, and I was only getting back like $2,000 in ticket sales. So I was under $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 every single month. So that was around the time I was making like $10K a month, and from those $10K, you see, I'm losing like $3K to this Young Sharks thing. And I still have my own cost. Like I have to pay myself. I had an assistant at the time. I had a partner. I had to have softwares, and basically the money evaporated. When everything was said and done, I invested $60,000 into the Young Sharks, and I had nothing to show for it except for debt. I just lost money. Eventually, I was talking to the very first client that I got, who became a friend, and he was like, well, why don't you do your event as a subscription? And I was like, yeah, why don't I? So that way people are not just coming and going as they please. I have them hooked, and then it's easier for me to know exactly how many people are going to come every time. So I don't have to commit to like $4,000 and I only get 50 people. I can commit to 1,000 since I know how many people I'm going to have. Blah blah blah. So so I started it, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to let everybody know. And hey, I told everybody. I started DMing people, messaging people that were on my Facebook group. And I was like, hey, I got a new subscription going. I'm doing a couple of events a month, only for members. I want to have a group that is very tight niche. And, I started selling the vision, and people started signing up. At the time, I was doing an offer for like, hey, it's just $24.99 for the first month, and then $39.99 after that. Slowly over time, I've been increasing the price because also we've been doing more events and including more things within the subscription that make it more valuable. And also, it was just very unprofitable at that price point. So One thing led to the other, and now we're here today. I have over 200 members. My business makes over 10K right now, every single month consistently, and I'm just starting. Like, I'm 5 months into the subscription, and I've been able to almost double in size every single month. Knock on wood, thank God. But it's been 2 years, almost 3 years in the making to get to this point. Now I know for a fact I have a full open runway ahead of me, and I just have to figure out how to make more money, how to scale, how to hire people. Now the challenges that I'm facing are the next level, which is, well, how do you charge people this amount of money every month and support the growth on the back end and support customer service and requests and cancellations and refunds and problems with this and problems with that and softwares and everything on the back end. You have to create SOPs. You have to, and I'm gonna get on this on the next video where we're gonna start going into the real deal. But now, once you start scaling, it's not as easy as like, hey, I'll start making money, and when I make 5K a month, I'm gonna go ahead and hire someone and pay her 2K a month, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do this and do. It's not that simple, guys, because it's not like you can just pass on your job to an employee. That's why you really want to want it. You can't just like expect that, oh, I'm just gonna get into this industry, make some quick money, and then I'll just get someone to do it for me and pay them for it. No, nobody is gonna do it like you. Nobody's gonna care like you do. None of your employees are gonna give a fuck. They don't care if the company goes under. Yeah, like there's some employees that are more committed than others. There's some employees that really go above and beyond, and I have amazing people working for me, but it's not their company. It's my company. It's not their business. It's my business. It's not their family's livelihood. They can just go get another job. But for me, my entire lifestyle falls. So they don't care like I care. And that really comes into play because I am willing to go work all the way until 12 at night if that's what's needed, if we have a project tomorrow. But my employees, hey, they're done at 5 or they're done at 6, and when they're done, they're done. Some of them, like, they're still available after hours, and they're involved. Like, I have great people, but they're not going out of their way to work an extra 50 hours a week just because they believe in the vision. Right? Like, they work hard because they love what we're doing, and they believe in me as a leader and the company, and they're in for the ride. But at the end of the day, they're even if they had a part of the business, they're just not gonna be you. Nobody can do what you do because that's why you're you, right? In my case, I am good at so many different things in one. Like, I'm one person that's good at all these little things, and all together I'm able to hold it all under one house. None of my employees can do that. Like, I can play the orchestra. They can't. And the same thing will happen to you once you start growing your business. You're gonna find yourself that you're gonna be great at sales, you're gonna be mediocre with customer service, and you're gonna be all right with like, let's say, technicalities, like technical things. But all together, you're a very well-rounded person that's able to have do customer service, do some technical things, and you're also a great salesman. You're gonna find that you might get an employee that is a great customer service provider but sucks at sales, or you find a great salesman that is just a fucking rude person, or you find someone that is like a software genius and then they suck at having a personality. So it's really hard to come across other people that are very well-rounded, and that's what makes great entrepreneurs great, is that we're able to sit down with a salesperson and talk their lingo. We're able to sit down with the customer service people and see, okay, what are the challenges? What's going on? And you can identify with them. You can be nice. You can provide customer service yourself. You're able to sit down with, like, say, engineering department, or you're able to look into softwares that might increase the productivity for your business, or automations. So all those things we're going to cover in the rest of the course. I think I dragged this a little bit longer than I would have wanted, but that's what you're here for, to learn. And I hope I give you some value. I hope you learn from my mistakes as well. And I'll see you on the next video. Alrighty.